everybody. Welcome back to Humans of Campus Housing. My name is Leo, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Ben. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
So well, Leo, thanks. Good to see you all. It's been a minute, and we've navigated closing season and are getting into our summer season and everything that's associated with that. Got some travel coming up, but glad to be here today to talk with you and Dan.
Awesome. Actually, that's couldn't be more relevant because today's episode is actually a little bit more about what we're going to be on that. So today we're actually diving into one of the most common and, let's be honest, most chaotic challenges in campus housing, and that's the battle between summer maintenance and summer conferencing. So we're going to be calling this episode Paint or Profit because sometimes it really does feel like a tug of war between what needs to happen and what pays the bills. So to help us unpack all of this, we're joined by someone who knows summer operations inside and out, and that is Dan Dykstra, who is the Director of Conference Services at the University of Colorado Boulder. Hey, Dan, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Leo. Hey, Ben. Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Dan, we're really excited to have you on. But before we jump into this tug of war subject, can you give our listeners a quick snapshot of your role and what summer looks like at Boulder?
Okay. Yeah, I won't go too deep. I do have roughly 35 years of experience with higher ed, working at 3 different universities. The most recent 2 are Georgia Tech and now CU, University of Colorado Boulder. I've been in conferencing and events my entire career. I have reported up through auxiliary services divisions as well as student life divisions. So I know the nuances with both of those inform my work as well, as you can imagine. But as director of conference services here at CU Boulder, we have a great, very robust conference program. We have multiple lines of business. We do year-round conferencing, but really our residential conferencing during the summer months is our primary bread. It's the butter that we put over the bread. Yeah, it's the true revenue maker for our operation. I have about 13 staff members full time. That balloons up to over 120 during the summer because, in essence, we collaborate really closely with residence life team, and more or less my assistant director oversees that operation in terms of front desk support, community support, et cetera, et cetera. So we will host a summer, and we'll probably have over 11,000 guests staying with us this summer.
That's amazing. So it seems like you have a lot of amazing experience. So I want to ask you, Dan, what strategies do you have on how to work hand in hand when it comes to this tug of war between summer facility projects and the need to generate revenue through summer conferences and housing?
Well, I just want to say I appreciate the title, Paint or Profit. Preventive maintenance or revenue is really, to your point, a balancing act. And I think strategically, it begins with upfront communication. I work closely with our housing facilities on campus, the campus facility management group, and we're always in conversation. And by always, I mean we do have standing meetings with them regularly. We have biweekly meetings. We call them PIT crew, Performance Improvement Team. So I get to have FaceTime with the project managers, environmental services leaders, the maintenance leaders, integrated security, the director of housing facility services, and we just map out strategies to address what you're talking about. I will say that I found what's most advantageous is I know my business here well. We have over 8,500 beds. we know that going into each summer, roughly 1,500 to 2,000 will be taken offline for maintenance and or renovation. So that knowledge up front is important to me because the conference industry is such that it's different with every campus, but 60% of my business is rollover. It repeats every year. We know them. We know their needs. It's the 30 to 40% that are new, and we need to sell to them. Well, those planners usually reach out to us multiple years in advance. And so when I came to CU Boulder, I made it clear from experience at Georgia Tech that I needed to work with the director to really map out the maintenance plan. And he assured me he would develop what he called a 5-year HEMP plan, which is HMP, Housing Maintenance Plan. And we would agree upon it, and we would know which buildings are going offline each year. So I actually have that 5-year HEMP plan, and it goes to 2041. So I know what buildings are going to be offline up to 2041. Any questions about that?
No questions. Ben, what do you think about what Dan said? And also, in your experience, what are some of the biggest maintenance or facility challenges you see over the summer?
Well, I think that, I mean, Dan, it doesn't surprise me to hear that a program as large as yours has a plan out to 2041. I don't know that I can specifically speak to, to what we're doing here at my host institution, but I know that we are having conversations, now multiple years out, knowing that, within our timeline of updating certain systems, or even if it's furniture replacement or just modernizing certain things, that we are planning either an entire summer or a window during the summer to have certain facilities offline. And so we generally have, and I would assume, and I guess this is also a question, that we have a summer school population that definitely affects our occupancy during the summer, and then we have our orientation groups who are coming in as well as part of those visitors, because we have a 6,000 person new class coming through, and a majority of them come through with their families and stay on campus, not the families but the students, over the course of about 5 weeks. And so again, that's profit for us because we're billing and bringing in that revenue as well. And then we have our other camps, right? Other groups who have worked with different offices, whether that's athletics, whether it's academics, whether it's just a complete, third party who's coming in and looking to use our facilities. And again, to your point, a lot of those are rollover. We know who those folks are going to be. We're here in the state capital, so we're going to have governor's school at some point, right? There are certain givens that we have. But at the same time, we know that if we don't keep up with our facilities, that not only are our students going to suffer from that eventually, and if you keep pushing off that deferred maintenance, eventually it becomes a large problem, right? So if you don't do regular maintenance on your air handling systems, if you don't replace your furniture every once in a while, if you don't go through and replace flooring, then when you do get around to that, the price inflates because the scope of the project becomes much larger. So, for the past, and sometimes you have to stage those out, right? You only have a finite amount of time during the summer that you can handle a project. And maybe if you're looking at a certain system, let's say air handling, right, which touches a lot of different systems, maybe you can only do half of that project this summer. And so you do half of it, day after students are out, buildings closed, contractors come in and start doing the prep work, and you do that work over the course of the summer. They button it up at the end. The next summer, again, as soon as students are out, close it down, and they come in to start finishing that project. So, of course, you can't do all of that without, like Dan was saying, solid communication.
Yeah.
And it really takes a strong partnership across campus and a commitment that as you have turnover in those different departments, that you're bringing those people into the loop and educating them about, what is happening on campus. And then, there's the whole, if you have new projects going on and how that factors in, and the salvation that occurs. Oh, we're going to get some more beds, and what's that process going to look like? So it is complex.
Oh yeah.
But it's wonderful, actually, I think, to see, and it's one of the better examples of stakeholders working together on a university campus.
Yeah, so to your point, Ben, it includes the stakeholders of the housing facilities group, the project managers, their wish list. We know every building's going to be renovated now every 5 years, renovated. That doesn't exclude those paint projects where, did you have issues with all that neon lighting that people hung up in their rooms and tore it down and all the paint came down? Yeah, we had that too. So from that pit crew, from that 5-year master plan, my assistant director then creates a housing master plan, usually multiple years out, plugging in the groups where we think the rollover groups will go, plugging in the new groups we're talking to where we think they're going to go. That then reveals opportunity. And that opportunity is that short-term maintenance where, okay, they want to carpet Aiden Hall, but we are using it this summer. It's not one of the offline buildings. But guess what? We don't have a group going in there June 15th, and then our last group exit July 15th. All of a sudden, you have a 3 to 4 week shoulder on both sides where they could carpet the first few floors and then at the end of summer carpet the other. Since the topic of this is paint, we get one-off paint requests a lot during the course of the summer. That's why that pit crew meeting is so important, because our zone managers will say, we're really realizing we need to tackle Kittredge West, third and fourth floor. The paint in the showers is deteriorating. Can we get in there? We can strategically then assign by floor, keep those floors offline, or at minimum, flip window opportunities for them to get into those floors that need it to paint appropriately. So again, my saving grace really is that biweekly commitment meeting where everybody shows up. We lay it out, we review the housing plan, we let them know, okay, remember this group's coming in to Stearns Tower next week. So that is really our strategy, is that communication. It's really 3-tier. It's having that 5-year housing master plan, the regular pit crew meetings, which begin in January and go through the duration of the summer, and then the housing master plan that my team puts together to share with them. And we stay committed. I'll back it up then to our clients. We have commitments from them contractually. We have language in our contract that we have right to enter room for maintenance needs, emergency maintenance needs, that sort of thing. We had an unfortunate situation. We're working on a project that impacts where our interns are housed, and they didn't have any hot water this morning because they're working on a water line to the building and had to turn off the boiler, and they couldn't get the boiler back on. So again, our commitment to communicate to the residents, then my specialist emailed them last night to apprise them of the situation, and emailed them this morning. Thankfully, at 8:20, it got turned back on, and it makes it interesting. Each day is different.
That's right. Yeah, and I think that flexibility is a big part of it too, right? Because it goes to that best laid plan of mice and men, right? You can
Yeah.
meet all you want to, and then if your contractor falls through, or your contractor, finds something else and getting into that, you've got to be willing to do it. We were planning on having one hall closed this summer here to modernize an elevator, and there was some miscommunication somewhere, and that modernization in that building is not happening. So we're switching it to another building because it needs to happen in that building, but it wasn't on the plan for this year necessarily. But shifting that, and then that affects us, how we were staffing that building, our plans for that building, having to make those adjustments. So it really is, you can plan all you want to, but in the end, you also have to be flexible. And again, you have to be strong communicators. And sometimes, all you can say is, hey, this happened. We weren't planning on it. Thanks for being flexible. And and in the end, then, maybe somebody who has to deal more with people, right? Ends up having to do a little managing. So that's all right. And, ultimately you want, because, one of the things that's important about making sure, not only for the resident students, that your facilities and that you're presenting a good product, right, is that almost every conference program I'm aware of views it as an outward marketing experience and a potential future customer experience, that you never know what sort of impact that coming to visit CU Boulder will have on a future student, right? An 8th grade camp who comes there for theater could just absolutely fall in love with the campus and they become a future student. Or again, first time camp comes, they have a remarkable experience, and then as that camp grows, you increase that strong rollover performance from that camp as well. And so there's this real interesting symbiosis there between everything that's moving.
Yeah, my mantra when I came here was the 3 R's. Reputation. I want to further the reputation of this university in terms of its research, aerospace, engineering, et cetera, et cetera. Recruitment, to your point, recruitment. And we do a lot of adult professional programs, even international programs, because we're able to house them in our residence halls, air conditioned, et cetera. So it's not only recruitment of students, we have documented recruitment of faculty that have come to CU Boulder for a conference and ended up becoming a faculty member. And then revenue. The 3rd R, revenue. So important. And you can't have a good reputation if the facilities are in shambles. We know that. I know that. That's why I want to give my facilities team, my housing team, the space they need to turn over the buildings, the space they need to maintain the buildings, the Res Life staff, the space they need to not only exit the buildings at this time of year, but give them the space to take them back over when the students are about to arrive, because students are number one, and we need to make sure that we are good stewards of all the housing facilities, the dining facilities, the meeting facilities, and those are turned over appropriately. And shameless plug for KX, that communication is possible with KX. That communication is agile with KX because we can go in and take rooms offline, beds offline, and that way my sales manager in 2027 isn't selling Kit Central because it's going to be offline, and she can see that. So
thank you for that, Dan. We're almost out of time, Dan, but I did want to ask you, what advice would you give to listeners to kind of find that balance, up the communication game, especially for that 5-year plan, which is really interesting, so that they could continue to generate more revenue and make everything on that balance between housing and conference and events possible?
My advice is just create that good professional relationship with the stakeholders, finance, those are the people that have to fund the maintenance and the renovations and that sort of thing. The director of housing and residence life, I'm very close with. We talk about shared goals, and we talk about goals that are different. Res Life may have different goals than I do, but maybe we can find a common ground. So really the planning starts with goal sharing and what are priorities and the sorts. So that would be my advice. And just know that, to Ben's point, you have to be able to pivot once in a while. And how do you mitigate that, but understanding that it's likely to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great answer, Dan. Where can people find you and get a little bit more information on what you're doing, what Boulder's up to, for those listening?
Well, my email address is pretty straightforward. It's daniel.dykstra, DYKSTRA, @colorado.edu, or you can find me at LinkedIn, Dan Dykstra on LinkedIn. And I'd love to reach out, and I'd love to be on a podcast again. This is fun.
Awesome.
That's great. Thank you so much, Dan, for being here. And with that said, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Ben to close us out.
Sure. Well, we thank you all for tuning into the Humans of Campus Housing podcast today. It's always our hope that our conversation has helped you in some way, connected to your personal or professional experiences, or that it inspires you to take this back and continue or further the discussion. If there's any topics you'd like to hear us discuss, please reach out and let us know. And of course, we hope you will like, share, and subscribe to the Humans of Campus Housing podcast. In this crazy world, please take care out there. Look after your students, care for your people, and most importantly, take care of yourself and find ways daily to refill your cup. A very special thank you to Dan Dykstra at CU Boulder for being here today and sharing your vast expertise with us, and for you all taking the time to join us. For Leo and everyone associated with Humans of Campus Housing, thanks for joining us.